Hey, what's going on? So I've been working on this one system for a little while here, like a gun crafting system or a weapon bench. And originally I started with just animating just this bench alone to try to figure out how to get interactables to work, and then from there I wanted to try to figure out how to learn UMG. And right now this is the system that I've been coming up with as I go along, with some other people helping me out with a couple more assets here. Basically, it's just a weaponsmithing system so far that I have. I'll give a really quick run through of this, and then the later half of this video, I'll run through some of the blueprints on what I've been building so far. But what I've had right now is like you can come into there, it'll disassemble like whatever gun that you have into a couple different pieces. Your three main components would be down here, and then your I think first and secondary attachments will be up here. Like this will be your magazine for like the rounds you shoot, the kind of bullets that come out, the color of the rounds, what do they do, and if you want, you can push this button here that lets you reassemble the weapon and puts it back together again. I'm still learning UMG, so a lot of this stuff is still a work in progress as I go. And on top of that, you can also throw on sights for the gun. So this weapon system only has two, but if I switch to the other weapon system, I only have two right now. I have different components that'll work with this weapon system, and on top of that, I am presented with another scope I can use. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a boxy kind of scope. And again, I can have no scope if I choose. And then again, you can leave the workbench, and it'll close up, and then it'll give you back control of your character again. So you can come in, you can take aim with the sights, and you can fire away. So one of the other things I've also outfitted this for was being able to try to plan out how am I going to incorporate a lot of different systems. Still working on animations for that. So for this part, I'm going to be running through some of the build on the inner mechanics of it. So what it comes down to is the core housing of the weapon is run through the weapon housing system. This is like your main, this is like the brainchild of the whole thing. So whatever this piece is that makes the function of the weapon do what it does, then all the other pieces attached to it can become accessories, and we'll change the stats of this weapon as I go further along with creating this system. So in weapon category, this is a child blueprint of the master right now, and what this is like the weapon category selection. What this does is like it's set up for other weapon categories such as pistols, shotguns, rocket launchers, who knows what else. And as you go through, you can select the different housing. So right now I should be on 1 for rifles, but if I select the different housing, you'll see that hopefully, nope, it did not give me it. Okay. It did change out my barrel. So like for this housing system, I get a different barrel selection going on. Why I can't get those other housings showing up? That's strange. But just for this one here, I can kind of run you through. So you have your barrel selection. I have only 2 barrels for this system. I have 3 for the other. Again, with stock, you can change this out as well. And as you're coming through, I have structs set up for parts within parts. So if you have a barrel system, within this barrel system, you can assign the names, the weapon spread modification, so helping the accuracy of the weapon, or even speed of the gunfire, who knows what else. If you can use the attachments, then these certain attachments will come up, and depending on the sockets you assign to your static meshes, will snap to the positions that these accessories will go to. And you can then specify what accessories are associated for this attachment position. So for here, I have none for my first, so there's nothing there. For the second, then I can have a second sight, which is up on the front here. That was for testing reasons, and so on and so forth. See, I think if I jump back in, you'll be able to see it. But yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll jump back in. I'll just kind of show you because I kind of have some of the attachments set up, but not completely. Again, with the weapon stats too, that's another thing that's also been recently new that's starting to come in as this gets programmed. But for this system here, you can enter the crate from any side. It's always going to position you in the front. So this housing system here, it shoots fast, but it's kind of inaccurate. So it's kind of like the SMG in a way, but it's not. It's a rifle system in itself. And then what you can do is you can switch out to a different gun. Now you notice that on this child here, that's okay, this is the short barrel. The longer barrel doesn't have anything on the front. But in this one it does now because I have attachments set up in the master, but I have to set up extra buttons and menu icons to be able to attach these pieces. And I can just go ahead and drop in one of my sights per se. Let's drop in this one. This one's fit more for this type of gun anyways. And I don't know, like, let's just drop it down to a short little stock. Let's do solid, I guess. Until I get more stats put into these weapons, it'll definitely make a difference. But for a good example would be, let's shoot from back here along this shadow line to this box here. If I fire from the hip, I'm not going to have much chance hitting me anything, but if I aim, you can also have sight pictures set up for individual sights, so every sight can be different. You'll notice that the spread is definitely reduced a lot more. But me, I'm more of a guy that I favor range, even though if I have to slow me down a little bit, sometimes I want to take damage over it. So I'll switch over to the other system. This system's slower, but it has more accuracy, and I'm going to select, I need a vacuum for this, so I definitely want the empty stock. And I'll take the other scope. If you noticed, that attachment accessory that was on this piece here, it's sharing the same socket of attachment socket 2 in this front piece. And because this other barrel is on the side, the attachment socket 1 would be on the top of this one, just like it would be on this. So if you have your attachment selected, when you switch out your barrel, it'll carry over to your other barrels that you have. And let's choose out a different side. I'm going to choose this one here, the more little, I guess, retro 80s box. That's what it kind of feels like to me. But this thing has a way better zoom scenario going on, so I can see from way back here. So in the shadow line, I can tell my hip fire might be slower, but I can definitely get my spread a lot better than this one. This is from when we were aiming before too. So, I mean, it's definitely coming along in a way. There's still a lot more little things that are going to happen. All these are static meshes right now, and I eventually plan to replace the middle housing piece with a skeletal mesh, so even any of them being skeletal meshes for that matter. So if there's pieces that have to animate, then they can. Because at the end of the day, these are all just attaching to each other based on socket positions. So, yeah, that'll be the rundown for now. There's got to be a lot of UMG work that's going to have to happen until, I guess, to do the next update. So hopefully in the next update I'll be able to have a lot more nice little visuals to show maybe. And a few other pieces and accessories. Who knows, maybe even weapon categories, and we'll see where we go from there. So, if you have any questions, just let me know, and then maybe I might be able to give a rundown and submit some screenshots of some of the inner workings of this system. So, thanks a lot.